I stand in support of my colleague Grant Robinson's bill on ethical investment Crown financial institutions for 3 reasons. The first reason is that New Zealanders need to be assured that the Crown on our behalf is putting our money in investments that meet our clear test of what we believe is right. The second reason is that New Zealand markets itself globally as a clean, green, 100% pure country. If we are to be true to this branding, then we need to be sure that we walk the walk in every sphere of what we do on the global stage. Ethical investment is a large part of this branding. Thirdly, the third reason why this is important, Mr. Speaker, is that there is no legislative framework in place to ensure that the agents acting on our behalf actually do follow the guidelines and principles expected by all New Zealanders. Mr. Speaker, the Crown, through 5 existing Crown financial institutions, invests huge sums of New Zealanders' money, gathered through taxation in many forms of investment right across the globe. I suspect that many Kiwis would be most displeased if they were to find out that agents acting on our behalf, Mr. Speaker, were investing in industries and organisations that go against everything that we as proud New Zealanders stand for. Secondly, we market our wonderful country as clean, green and 100% pure. We declared ourselves nuclear free before it was trendy, and we stood up to the world's biggest superpower and said no. It was a principled stance based on what we believed was right for the people of New Zealand. We fail ourselves if we do not continue to act in such a noble and practical manner. Therefore, we need to be able to walk the walk when it comes to our actions as a global investor. We will not be able to articulate a vision on the international stage when we ourselves are seen to be investing in industries that forge the tools of war, death, are involved in activities that directly cause environmental degradation and engage in activities of human abuse. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this legislation is important in mitigating this global risk to our country's brand. The third reason I support this bill, Mr. Speaker, is because there is no legislation in place to ensure that agents acting on our behalf behave in an ethical way. Most of our Crown financial institutes have already made commitments to ethical investment through recognition of the UN Global Compact, which stipulates 10 ethical human rights, labour, environment and anti-corruption principles for businesses to abide by. The ACC, the Super Fund, the Earthquake Commission are all signatories to the UN Principles of Responsible Investment, which give guidelines for investment which is socially and environmentally responsible. And in fact, Section 58, Part 2C of the New Zealand Superannuation and Retirement Income Act 2001, the New Zealand Super Fund's governing legislation, requires the fund to manage its investments so as to, and I quote, avoid prejudice to New Zealand's reputation as a responsible member of the world community. This bill, Mr. Speaker, will introduce a frame the frame needed to actually implement these commitments fully. For without this legislation, they are little more than empty lines on a page. So in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, there are 3 reasons why I urge this House to support the bill. They are, first, New Zealanders need to be ensured that the Crown on our behalf is putting our money in investments that meet our clear test of what we as New Zealanders believe is right. The second reason is that New Zealand markets itself globally as a clean, green, 100% pure country. If we are to be true to this branding, then we need to be sure that we walk the walk. Ethical investment is a large part of this branding. The third reason why this is important, Mr. Speaker, is that there is, at the moment, no legislative framework in place to ensure that agents acting on our behalf actually do follow the guidelines expected by all New Zealanders. This is a great piece of legislation and I commend it to the House. Thank you.
I call Aaron Gilmore.
It would be great to stand here and talk about the issues around ethical and social investment